All things sports and entertainment. So Terrence Crawford and Canelo are in negotiations for a fight. You've heard reports that they're going to end up fighting possibly on Netflix. There's a lot of money going to be involved. I'm hearing reports that it might be $150 million total for them to split the money. I'm sure it's going to be 60-40 or something around there, which Crawford will still walk away with a life-changing money, way more than what he got paid for Earl Spence. Even though that was a mega fight, shout out to Earl Spence. But he said something that was interesting, and he said that he wouldn't mind the Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight to be on his undercard if Gervonta wasn't so arrogant. Now, everybody know that Gervonta came off a controversial draw against Lamont Roach Jr. This past March 1st at the Barclays Center in New York City, Brooklyn to be exact. Most people felt like Lamont Roach won the fight. To me, I have no problem with it being a draw, but because he did take a knee and he went out, Steve Willis should have deducted 2 points or do an 8-second count, 2 points deducted, and Lamont Roach should have won that fight. But fans have been calling for Gervonta versus Shakur Stevenson. Shakur said it would be the biggest thing on pay-per-view, but Gervonta basically said, I'm on my side of the street. He was floating around the idea of retiring this year, and you've also heard reports that he wants to fight Jake Paul, which maybe that would have been his payday, and then he was going to be done with it. Now let me say this, right? Let me say this. I would love to see that on the undercard, especially if Netflix going to be involved, and if you were to have Joshua and Tyson Fury, Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, and then of course Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, but that's not going to happen. That's just wishful thinking. I don't think Al Heyman's going to let that go down. I don't think the stakeholders at PBC is going to let that go down. I don't think Amazon will probably let that go down. And I don't see them doing some type of Amazon, Netflix to promote a fight. And honestly, Gervonta Tank Davis, he has bigger fish to fry. He need to go back and run that back with Lamont Roach Jr. And a lot of his aura has kind of been tarnished. I remember I was talking with my boy Michi from the Midwest a couple of weeks ago, subscribed to his platform, and Gervonta Tank Davis was basically called a baby Mike Tyson. And was he knocking people out? Absolutely. I'm not going to take that from him, but you gotta also look at the people he's fighting, right? You fight a Leo Santa Cruz who's smaller than you. When you move up to 140, you fight Mario Barrios, but then it's for the WA regular belt, not the championship belt or the interim belt, but y'all promoted like a regular belt. And he's not fighting the top guys, right? If he retired today, Gervonta Tank Davis is not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, he's not. And people have been calling him a 30-year-old prospect because him and Floyd and the PBC have carefully only made him fight a certain style of fighter. That now he was in there with a Lamont Roach who wasn't scared of him and his quote-unquote thug antics, Gervonta Tank Davis antics, that, he was a little exposed. And I think that don't be surprised if he fight Lamont Roach and then they get to playing these politic games again, and it might be another 3 years. But in my opinion, this is my opinion, let me know if I'm wrong, I feel like the PBC is really holding on to Gervonta Tank Davis and David Benavidez. I don't think that they're going to put them in the worst situations to lose. And I think that if Gervonta, with him and Benavidez being the two cash cows, because Floyd's not boxing no more. He ain't boxing. I don't hear him talking about Al Heyman no more. I don't see him doing exhibitions to throw the money back into PBC. You remember when Floyd said it's really stand for Pretty Boy Champions, or when you say it's when you say me is Al, when you say Al is me, you don't really hear that no more. You don't hear from none. I don't even see interviews from Sam Watson anymore. So, but what I will say is David Benavidez is still gonna put butts in the seats. Gervonta Tank Davis is still gonna put butts in the seats. If Gervonta lose because he's built his aura on never being able to lose, and those guys, the Devin Haney's and the Shakur Stevensons and the Teofimo Lopez's, are not on the same level as him. Mind you, this is the same guy that told you he's on the same skill set of Floyd, and he got the biggest deal in boxing, which he'd be making about $35 million a fight, and that Floyd then was hating on him and all of that with Amazon Prime. But if he take that loss, I don't know if he'll be able to bounce back. I remember years ago when him and Tevin Farmer we wanted to see that fight, even though we was robbed of that fight too. But do you remember when Gervonta Tank Davis, I think it was on Fight Hype, they was talking, and Gervonta Tank Davis said, I ain't gonna never lose. You ain't gonna never catch me losing. He got that Baltimore accent. I got family out there too. Shout out to my people out there. But he had this whole aura, and honestly, that hurt boxing, which is why I don't mind Dana White coming in and trying to shake it up, because that Floyd thing, man, it only works for one person. And even with that, Floyd was never undisputed. But there's no reason why Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis are both champions, and we at 135 pounds, and we can't see that fight. You know, or people was talking about Inoue. And Gervonta Tank Davis was like, damn, why y'all always trying to put the fighters on me? Well, Leonard Ellerbe running around talking about you really a 130-pound fighter. Okay, well, get Inoue to move up and let's see that fight happen. You know, we got to see something. Gervonta has to have a stamp against a top fighter. And listen, I'm not a Ryan Garcia fan, especially with the whole cheating incident. But you weight drained Ryan Garcia. And at the time, I had a lot of respect for Ryan, because I'm like, oh, okay, he was willing to go in and change demands, but you fought a weight drain Ryan Garcia. But if you ask the Tank Davis fans, who has he fought and beat? He hasn't fought anybody yet. But I just want to get my quick thoughts about it. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's wishful thinking. Like I said, if anything, the PBC, they're gonna keep squeezing out Amazon Prime pay-per-views for Gervonta. But yeah, let me know what y'all think.